Hello and welcome. We wanted to educate you on a couple theories on how to create a social movement. Please enjoy. There are characteristics that are vital in the naming or claiming of an authentic social movement being 1. Collective identity that establishes a distinct political, cultural, or religious identity. 2. Active engagement of protests, violent or nonviolent, and 3. Collective assembly, which these three really capture the main idea of what a social movement, which is to ultimately inspire social change as resource and mobilization, is part of what the social movement does to gain momentum and remain legitimate. What fuels a movement is a grievance or a certain sense of social or political injustice. Another form of social protests exists within imperialism, either as the superior empire imposes cultural and economic values onto an indigenous group, or by employing genocide to retain their cultural identity and forms of political and economic being. Many groups will form to combat imperialism. What makes a movement successful is by either resources or by mobilization. The more money invested and contributed with allow a movement to subsist, accompanied by either steady or rapid mobilization that allows the movement to grow and attract popular support. All social movements being a part of social hysteria and irrational emotions, though some throughout history may as well could have been. Social movements need a social grievance which will mobilize into a collective identity and will engage and deploy active protest to inspire or reform norms, customs, or laws with social change. These are the factors of what creates a movement. The success is derived from popular support or the ability to maintain resources. If the group is unpopular, it will not mobilize. If the group is ill-financed, it will not be able to subsist. This is what a movement relies on to sustain existence. There are many theories why social movements form. Here are a few. The political process theory. Social movements are external environments which rely on the political environment to mobilize and or be successful. Social movements can only arise and be successful if the political environment is favorable. Where there is political opportunity. The rise of nation-states allow individual citizens to influence politics and claim-making in which the state is the direct target. Social movements can be viewed as citizenship movements demand for political rights and inclusion. Political opportunities are embedded in the political structures of a regime. By Isinger, open systems are representative and responsive to citizens' demands, while closed systems exclude citizens and are unresponsive. Political opportunities come and go, opening and closing for specific situations. When recognizing a situation as one open to change is referred to cognitive liberation. By McAdam, mediating between opportunity and action are people and the meanings they attach to situations. Culture is a shared symbolic meaning which social action is constituted. Cultural frame schemata, a pattern imposed on complex reality or experience to assist in explaining it, mediate perception, or guide response. Ordering experience and events so that we can know them and how to react to them. Framing involves construction of meaning of a given situation by selecting a culturally available frame to put around it. By Goffman, frames tell us how to think about things while ideology tells us why it matters. To answer what is going on, dominant frames from the mass media and authorities included rhetoric of reaction. Collective action frames provided a diagnosis, prognosis, and motivation for action. To appeal, collective action frames must convey ideas in a logical, convincing, and culturally resonant way. Frames are continuously being constituted, contested, and or replaced during social movement activity. Movement frames contest official state and media frames. Contentious politics revolves around environmental, relational, and cognitive mechanisms and processes involved in episodes of claim-making between challengers and the state. Involve collective claims making that, if realized, would conflict with someone else's interests. Politics in the sense that governments of one sort or another figure in the claim-making, whether claimants, object of claims, allies of objects, or monitors of contention. By Tarot and Tilly. Has an obvious political bias that contentious episodes in some way involve the government, but is never easily defined. Old social movements include Marxism, which does not have a specific theory about social movements because it is in itself a social movement which involves. The labor movement is the social movement against capitalism. Marxism is focused on class mobilization. Claim that the struggle of capitalist society is capital versus labor. Primary fault lines in capitalist society surround social class. Capitalists own production, working class own labor power, working class sell labor power based on exploitation of workers. Goods workers produce are sold for more than workers are paid, creating a surplus value extracted by capitalists are reinvested into production or translated into profit. Competition increases, commodities achieve a lower price on the market, capitalists make savings by exploiting workforce. Since workers can be compensated through the system, Marx was wrong that you need to deconstruct society and rebuild a new one to ensure the end of exploiting workers. New social movements include emphasize on identity, gay rights, women's rights. Conflicts between the system and life world where everyday life has to absorb the strains created by increased interference of the state and economy in cultural and personal realms, resulting in a life world over-legalized and bureaucratic. Crises created by capitalism are now shifted from economics and politics into cultural and personality systems. Conflict between the workplace, by Habermas. Cultural colonization, by Turine. Post-industrial information society. Knowledge-based economy in information and its meanings. Mass media and consumer culture where goods are branded, advertised and sold as symbols of lifestyle and personal identity. Struggle of personal freedom in an all-dominating programmed society as a struggle over what Turine calls historicity. Referred by his action theory, he argues that in all phases of history, social actors are at the center of social and historical processes, creating them through their collective action. Social movements are key to understanding society, akin to Marx's People Make History, and is produced by society. By Melucci, collective identity. Social actors have to invent themselves, and they have to do so in the course of their everyday lives in which the new conflicts over cultural codes are encountered. People fight to regain control over the symbolic resources of information society, and they use them to invent themselves as new kinds of individuals. New personal identities form new collective identities who confer the existence of we as opposed to them. They are individuals participating together because of self-interest. Common consciousness has to be constructed by social actors themselves, and this is essentially what they do when they build a movement. The main source for this presentation was from the Gemma Edwards book entitled Social Movements. Please read.